Tonight, live at 5. Early voter turnout in Georgia is shattering previous state records. Next, find out how parents are reacting to the CDC's recommendation that the COVID-19 vaccine be placed on the Vaccines for Children list, and how one nonprofit encourages children's reading through book donations. All of this and more tonight on Grady Newsource.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening. I'm Ben McKettrick, and welcome to Grady Newsource. After week one of early voting, Georgia and its counties have seen record-setting turnout. We hear now from Grady Newsource reporter Jim Rogers to learn about this historic week for Madison County.
Parking lot is filling up in Madison County Board of Elections. As residents arrive to cast their vote, they're becoming a part of a record-setting turnout statewide. As of Sunday, October 22nd, more than 740,000 voters have cast their in-person early ballots, according to the Secretary of State's office. This is a 159% increase from day 6 of the 2018 midterms and a 20% increase from the 2020 presidential election. The Board of Election staff has come together to accommodate all these voters.
But I have good staff. I have, they're from ones that just started this week or last week up to the ones that have been here a number of years. I don't worry about things like that. They take care of, the stuff. And
since early voting got started, Tracy and her staff have seen some high turnout days.
The turnout's been really good, really good. The first week ended with a little over 2,058 voters that came in and voted early. That is including Saturday. We had 199 Saturday. Friday was our biggest day, with a little over 400, and I think that this week it'll only get better. The numbers will rise.
Even with the high voter turnout, residents have been able to come in and cast their votes efficiently and easily.
Well, we wanted to go ahead and get our early voting over with so we won't have to stand in a long line. And we already had our mind made up anyway.
And a score for their experience voting today?
It was 10.
A 10?
Yeah,
very easy.
We vote, we don't miss opportunities to vote.
For Madison County, this is Jim Rogers, Grady Newsource.
As early voting continues to break records across the state, Barrow County is no different. Grady Newsource reporter Mary Lou Masters joins us live from the County Elections Office. Mary Lou, how are the numbers there?
Hey Ben, yeah, early voting is just wrapping up for the day. A couple of last-minute voters just trickled in and out of the elections office. And unlike, the rest of the state of Georgia, voting records continue to be broken as Barrow County is experiencing higher voter turnout as well for early voting in a midterm election. Now, I spoke earlier with Monica Franklin, the Director of Elections and Voter Registration, who told me a little bit more about the numbers they experienced now that she has a week of early voting under her belt.
We've seen an increase in our turnout. In 2018, we were averaging about 600, 620 a day. Now we're averaging 9 to 925 a day. Yeah, so it's been an increase. I don't know, I haven't looked at the absentee ballot, so I don't know if we've had an uptick in those, but I know advanced voting has been a lot bigger. And you're seeing anywhere from 90-year-olds to 18-year-olds. So you're seeing it across the board, all ages that are coming out to vote.
In addition to early voting, Franklin believes we will also see record-breaking numbers on Election Day. Along with the statewide races, Barrow County has 3 contested local elections: the County Commission, District 4, the Board of Education, District 1, and a nonpartisan special election in Bethlehem for their town councils Post 3. Now, this is the only early voting location that Barrow County has, and it is open every day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., except for Sundays, and it will be open for early voting up until November 4th, which is your last day to early vote. Back to you, Ben.
Thanks for the update, Mary Lou. In more election news, former President Barack Obama is traveling to Atlanta to rally on behalf of the Georgia Democratic candidates on Friday, October 28th. The exact location and times, however, have yet to be released. Pivoting to healthcare, the CDC approved the recommendation for the COVID-19 vaccines for the next year. Grady Newsource reporter Gabrielle Vitale tells us why this announcement caused some confusion among parents.
The recent vote by the CDC Advisory Committee added the COVID-19 vaccine to the immunization schedule for adults and children. However, this caused confusion on social media, making parents like Denny Petway concerned the COVID-19 vaccine would be required for children to attend school. Petway has a son in Oconee County High School and says he is concerned a mandate will limit his son's options on not getting the vaccine.
And I don't think he needs it. He doesn't fall into any demographic where COVID's going to hurt him. So I just don't want to give any unneeded medications.
However, each state has the power to make these decisions, not the CDC.
They're not actually mandating anything. Vaccine mandates are done at the state level, and states have chosen very different approaches.
The COVID-19 vaccine will be added to the list of vaccines for children, or known as the VFC. The Vaccine for Children is a federally funded program that provides vaccines for children that might not be able to afford them. However, this does not mean that the vaccines on this list are required for school attendance. So what does the CDC Advisory Committee do, and how does this vote impact the VFC? Dr. Bell says that this committee makes recommendations about the vaccines.
CDC makes a separate decision about which vaccines should go onto the list of vaccines for children, which means that they're available for free at the local health department.
In response to the CDC advisory vote, Governor Brian Kemp said in a tweet that Georgia does not and will not have COVID-19 vaccine mandates. Reporting for Grady Newsource, I'm Gabrielle Vitale.
The nation's report card was released this morning showing that scores in mathematics and reading have significantly dropped compared to the scores of 2019 before the pandemic. Georgia, however, only had a slight drop in math with no change in reading scores. Newsource reporter Aria Circa spoke with Tisha Dula, a counselor from Gwinnett County Public Schools, about why Georgia's scores have remained relatively the same post-COVID.
In some areas, I know in Gwinnett, we have the rigor is a little different, and so our kids, were already a little bit ahead. However, of course, we did notice, just like with the other states, a slight change in academic performance, which makes sense because, all of the children have experienced, and families, their parents too, have experienced trauma.
An Athens nonprofit organization is helping children continue to read throughout the year. Grady Newsource reporter Michael Doty tells us how they got enough books for children.
These children probably wouldn't have access to these books if it wasn't for Books for Keeps. Not all kids in school have access to library books over the summer, and if they don't read, they can suffer from what is referred to as summer slide, which occurs when children lose some of their literacy skills from the previous school year over the summer and start the next year behind. The solution Books for Keeps provides is to keep children with enough books all year.
We weren't just slowing and stopping summer slide, we were actually reversing summer slide, where kids were coming back better readers than they left the previous spring semester.
Children and their parents purchase books for free through Books for Keeps' annual fall book fair. They have plenty of genres to choose from travel books to cookbooks to kids' chapter books, and so many more. Anyone who comes is allowed to acquire up to 100 books per day, and that could be up to 400 books in a single weekend.
It's been convenient for families, and I know probably every cross-section of Athens has come out for the fair, so that's been really nice.
But some children may not like to read books. Dr. Scott Arduin says it could be due to the lack of variety of books in school.
So oftentimes in school we don't necessarily do a great job in using diversity in regards to what materials we're providing students with access to.
Bray agrees that kids need to read books they're interested in.
It's all about empowering kids and empowering people to read what they want to read, and that's how you continue to build a foundational level of literacy in our communities.
For Grady Newsource, this is Michael Doty.
Michael Doty now joins us live in the studio. Michael, what struck me about your package is the fact that these kids have access to 100 books per day. I mean, I don't think I've read 100 books in my life. How is that possible?
Well, they get a lot of books donated to them through different programs and organizations. Bryce said they're estimated to have about 200,000 books donated this year. That's half of that comes through their primary flagship program, which is Stop Books for Keeps. They donate about 108,000 books this year. And then their community book fair, which just ended yesterday, they were expected to donate about 60,000 books there, all used books in good condition from people who may have gotten them from book fairs in the past. And then also Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which donates another 36,000 books to children each year. So they got plenty to choose from.
Yeah, and you know I'm a victim of Summer Slide when I grew up K through 12. How is it that these families, they get the awareness? Obviously, you've done a tremendous thing here, bringing awareness to the solution. How can they find out about Summer Slide and to let their kids know, get them these books?
Well, it's just all about keeping them active throughout the entire school year to make sure they're reading books. In order to prevent summer slide, they have to be reading over the summer. And schools are trying to combat that with doing summer reading programs to make sure kids are on top of their literacy skills going back into the school year. But through programs like Books for Keeps, like I said, 200,000 is a very big number, so that's a lot of books. So there has to be at least one for every child to choose from that they find interest in, so that could keep their skills sharp throughout the year.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing this solutions journalism. Thank you for joining us in the studio. When we come back, UGA students share their weekend plans for the upcoming Georgia-Florida football game.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woo-hoo. Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
We are back, and Nicole Norvell joins me to share a special Georgia football update.
Thanks, Ben. We're only 5 days away from one of the biggest games of the season. The Florida Gators are a historic rival for the Georgia Bulldogs, and I got a chance to speak with some UGA students on campus about their thoughts and plans for the game.
I think it's going to be huge. It's huge every year. It's going to every seat's going to be sold out. People are going to be tailgating. It's going to be a great time to be in Jacksonville for sure.
I think it's going to be huge. It's known as the biggest tailgate in the country, so it's going to be fun.
I'm looking forward to Georgia crushing Florida. I'm ready for a win. I know there's been a lot of people saying that Georgia might not do as well because we just came off of a bye week, but I don't believe that's true. I believe we're going to win.
Dogs by 90.
The Georgia-Florida game is this Saturday at 3:30 p.m. in the TIAA Bankfield Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, reporter Justin Nimitz is here to tell us what the weather is going to look like for the big weekend. Justin?
Thank you, Nicole, for the sports update. For those of you heading to the game, it might get a little wet in St. Simons this weekend. As you can see on Thursday, probably the best time to go if you guys are taking the trek down there. We got a high of 75, low of 52. But once we get into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it goes to 20%, 30%, and then 40% chance of rain coming in towards Sunday. So we're looking at a small chance of showers throughout that week. Now, if you are attending the game in Jacksonville, there is also a 20% chance of light showers to have something going over that way. So have something in hand if that rain makes its way to TIAA Bank Field. So if this percentage continues to grow, this may create some traffic on I-20 on Friday. So I recommend if you're leaving later, take Highway 16 through Sandersville or Highway 78 through Swainsboro. It's about a 4 to 16 mile difference, but it's a better chance you won't hit a significant traffic jam. Now keep in mind, coming back Sunday, there will also be a 30 to 40% chance of rain from St. Simons to Athens. And this is also a 5-hour drive, so you may be traveling with a group. Whichever car you take, make sure the tires have enough tread to withstand potential slick asphalt. One trick is to take a quarter and put George Washington's head into the tread, and if his whole head is exposed, you can see right here, it means you have some low tread. So keep that in mind, have a safe drive, and that's all for now. I'll be back with the 5-day forecast later. Ben?
What Justin forgot to mention is that there is a 0% chance of rain in the comfort of your own living room, which is where I will be watching the game from. From football to plants, coming up next, plant lovers come together in Athens. More after the break.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight, both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand, trying to text somebody back, because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
This weekend, the Green Thumbs of Athens came together for a plantastic event. Grady Newsource reporter Aria Circus shows you how this plant parents branched out this weekend.
Plant lovers from across Northeast Georgia gathered together in Athens to swap, sell, and buy plants. They are a close-knit community, and many use their love for plants as therapeutic relief. UGA research scientist Anju Verma owns over 200 plants and visits such events to showcase her rare plants to others.
And so it's just creating an awareness about the plants, about how they bring happiness to us, and just the variegation and the availability which is there here in Athens.
Verma educated many attendees on Stapelia, a rare plant that only blooms for 1 to 2 days. Many people were curious about the unique structure of the succulent and its odorous smell.
Stinks. Yeah, it stinks. It stinks.
Along with learning about new plans, attendees were also able to shop at booths for local Northeast Georgia businesses selling plants, pots, macrames, and plant accessories. Kay Smith has a tropical plant nursery and brought numerous types of plants to sell at the event.
Some alocasias, philodendrons, monsteras, some variegated bananas. Those have been a big hit.
While many people there have loved plants for their entire lives, there were also some newbie plant parents in attendance to the event.
Not long
We
at all.
are
I'm
beginners.
new. Very new.
Yeah, I kind of have gotten into it over the past like 6 or so months because my mom was really interested in plants and everything.
Mia got me into it, honestly. So I have like 3 or 4 now, and these 2 I'm going to add to the collection.
With Grady Newsource, this is Aria's.
Music is said to have healing properties according to many studies. Newsource reporter Riley Roberts tells us how one neighborhood took that a step further to help heal the local community.
Music was already pouring through the streets when the gates opened for Sheila Fest this past Saturday. The field was soon full of canopies and chairs as people prepared for the day-long concert stretching from noon to 11 at night. The lineup included an array of artists from country to 80s rock. For David and Tina, this has been a tradition for them since the festival first began in 2017.
We've had Sheila Fest when it was broiling hot and freezing cold, and this is a perfect day. Even COVID, I sat up underneath that oak tree up there.
Attendees like this couple were able to enjoy food from local vendors and other activities such as bouncy houses and petting zoos. More than the fun and community, there is a deeper purpose behind this event.
Most Americans are one illness, one accident, one something away from being in need or food insecure, and we want to tell them that they matter no matter what they're going through in their life. And
Sheila Fest has partnered with iSurvey the past few years to fund their various projects throughout Jackson County.
the big thing now is our Village of Hope, where we're trying to end, 1, generational poverty, but 2, homelessness in our school system.
The exact numbers of tickets sold and money raised are not yet released. But with over $50,000 raised in 2021, Grant is hopeful about what's to come. Over the years, Sheila Fest founder Sheila Anderson and Grant's mutual desire to help others has led to a close friendship between the two.
I don't know, he's so humble about what he does. He's so devoted to what he does.
Music is her passion. The Lord is our passion in helping people, and it's a perfect fit.
Riley Roberts, Grady Newsource.
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that?
I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. But I need that back. No. Kevin!
Welcome back to Grady Newsource. I'm Justin Nemitz, and here's your 5-day forecast. We got some warmer weather heading our way this week. So starting off with Monday, we got a high of 77, and then a cold night of 48 degrees. Now Tuesday, it's going to be mostly sunny, but put a cloud here because it's going to be kind of cloudy because once we get into Tuesday night, there's a 60% chance of rain, probably a night thunderstorm, in fact. And that storm will probably stop around 8 a.m. Wednesday morning, so you'll most likely sleep through it. So we go down here, we got a high of 74 that day, and then it gets a little cooler in the nighttime at 48. Thursday looks crisp as clear as well. High of 75, low of 52. Perfect day to go down to St. Simons or Jacksonville. And then Friday, we got some clear skies, a 30% chance of showers after 2 a.m. If you're staying here in Athens during the Georgia-Florida game, it will be a cloudy and somewhat rainy weekend. So keep that in mind. That's all for the weather. Ben, back to you.
Thank you, Justin. After the break, find out what Jeep drivers in Jackson County are doing to help the youth.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason. Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
If you were in Jackson County this weekend, don't be alarmed if you noticed a lack of Jeeps on the roads. Our very busy reporter Riley Roberts tells us more about their charity drive.
Residents of Jackson County would have had quite a sight if they had driven past Kroger early Saturday morning. More than 40 to 50 Jeeps of all shapes, colors, and sizes completely filled the Beef O'Brady's parking lot. The drivers were coming together for the annual Jeepin' for Georgia Sheriff Youth Homes, a fundraiser helped organized by Sheriff Janice Magnum.
We do a Jeep ride in October when the University of Georgia's not playing football, because that way people come out and help us to raise money for these children who are abused and abandoned.
I'm sorry for the shortened video. That'll do it for us tonight, unfortunately, on Grady Newsource. I'm Ben McKettrick. Have a great night.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
As you all know, great show today. I just have a few like kind of nitpicky notes, but I think overall it'll make things a lot better. So for OTSs and VOs, like that sort of graphic things, in the future, in the rundown, you need to like put it in like graphic/video column, like, or like the treatment that there is in OTS. Like if there's a reader with an OTS, just it's an OTS. And then in the script, we need a cue in the script of when you want each graphic to show up. This kind of applies to like weather sports when they have like a ton of graphics. It's good to know like, oh, we're switching graphics now, and we don't have to guess. And that's kind of why the Obama OTS showed up a little late, because it showed up on my script like at the bottom, and then I was like, oh, we're supposed to play that the whole time. So that was my fault. But a cue like right above that only shows up on the prompter would be very helpful. And I think just a little more clarity when we have two anchors at the desk, like when they're both supposed to be on camera and when like it's just one, because we were a bit confused and we're rushing. But yeah, other than that, just like get down to the studio as early as possible, get mic'd up. Honestly, I apologize, you're gonna have to stand for a bit, but that is the cost of being on TV. But yeah, overall, great job. Good job, guys.
All right, well, guys, you know we have a special guest who has been watching us on Zoom, Jennifer Johnson. She's a senior producer with CNN Special Projects. We can see you, Jen. Can you see the newsroom? I'm here in red, Ralitza. So we are not hearing you right now. We will fix that.
Okay.
I think somebody turned down the audio. Can you guys turn it up, or is it?
They want you to keep talking so they can ask her to
Okay,
keep talking.
so Jen, can you keep talking so that we can fix your audio yet again now for the critique?
Okay, can you hear me yet? Because you
yes,
guys did a great job. Yes?
Yay, we can hear you.
Okay, okay.
So take it away. Over to you.
Well, first of all, it brought back a lot of memories because when I was in grad school at University of Illinois, we did the same thing. So yeah, it takes a lot of work to put something like that together. So bravo to all of you for putting that show together. Overall, I think the story selection was great. I really enjoyed the A block because it's a lot of the stories that we're doing today on CNN. Between the, voting's going on, you have vaccines, and then it was a big story about the education slide. So I thought you guys were spot on with that. Obviously sports and weather. I enjoyed the feature with the plants and the music. And I was very sad that I didn't get to see the Jeep story. I guess the timing was a bit off. Can I see, right now I'm seeing myself in two screens and it's hard for me to focus. Is there a way that I could see the studio?
We
or
will
who I'm
fix
talking
it.
to?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, much better. That was like I was like seeing myself. So overall, it was really good, and I was impressed by your on-air talent, because I know it's very, very nerve-wracking to do that. I thought that Mary Lou was extremely good live, because it takes a lot to do that. And I just enjoyed everyone on camera. I thought they were really, really good. And Ben, I have to say, wait, I wrote it down because it made me laugh. After the weather, how you said that you don't have to worry about the rain because you'll be watching the game in the comfort of your own home. That like totally cracked me up, and I love that I got a little bit of personality from you, because I think as an anchor on a show, I mean, of course, during the vaccines story and education, you have to be stoic and you have to tell the news. But I like that you let your personality show a little bit with that comment. Just something like that I thought really kind of just added for me. Overall, I just have some overall production. I mean, I know you guys are still learning, but these are just some things I found. Is it okay that I just keep going, Relisa?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So first of all, with the voter package, the first package, you just have to watch sometimes when you're doing shots, if you're tilting from the bottom up, because it was also in the open of the show when you said vote today, but you were going from bottom up. So I was trying to see what that banner read, and then it was going up, and it was like the Y of today, and then vote. So that was kind of, as a viewer, you're like, what does that say? So really for something like that, it should read top to bottom, so the viewer can read it along. That was just something I noticed. It was also in the open and the package. The graph, there was a big highlighted section. It was, so much was highlighted, I didn't know what I was supposed to be reading. And there was way too much for me to read in the time that it was up. I noticed, and I'm sorry because it was hard for me taking notes, the reporter that did that package, try not to, when you're doing an interview, it's very difficult, but try not to overstep, or when just listen, all right? Listen and wait for the people to stop talking and then do your questions, because we don't necessarily need to hear the reporter agreeing or not agreeing, because we want to stay neutral. So just try to not comment when you're doing an interview and wait till they're done, so you don't hear that extraneous audio when you're using a soundbite from the person. All right, so that was the voter package. So then Mary Lou threw to a soundbite of a woman, and I just noticed, I don't know how that was shot. You always want to make sure when you're shooting someone that it's flattering. So that really, you should never shoot people from below up, and it looked like the camera was really low on her. Fortunately, that woman wasn't particularly heavy, but if you're shooting someone that's heavy and you're shooting that low angle, it's not very flattering, and they won't be very happy with you for doing that. So that's just something to keep in mind. When you're shooting, you should always be at eye level or even above, but never shoot up. Vaccines, another point story. I mean, perfect. That's what we're talking about on CNN today. There was a graphic up, and I was trying to listen. I think it was Gabrielle that did that story.
Yes.
I was trying to listen to what she was saying and read the graph, and I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Listen to what she was saying or read the graph. And some of what she was saying was on the graph, but then some information was not. So that's just something be mindful of. If you're going to have a graph up, maybe it be something that you're exactly saying, or maybe reveal one thing at a time as you're saying it, because I just didn't know where to focus in that section. Let's see. Summer slide, books for keeps. Cute story. I was confused though, in one section I could have sworn the reporter said purchase books for free. I don't know if I heard that correctly, but I don't understand what that means. Because how do you purchase a book for free? Maybe I didn't hear that correctly.
So could you explain? Michael will explain, because he had to kill his stand-up because he said purchase, and I had the same question. I said, but but isn't this about donated books? And he said, but I
Right.
already filmed my stand-up. So he killed it, but I guess there was a leftover from.
Yeah, I was doing my VO, and there's like no synonyms or like words I could think of to purchase books for free, so I tried to make it work, but clearly it was not supposed to be. I know now for next time.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was just like, did I hear that correctly? Because how are you purchasing a book if it's free? So that was just one thing I did notice. When you guys were on the set together, it was because you're so much bigger, taller, I think, that are you
Yeah.
probably taller? It'd be nicer to kind of even you guys out because it just kind of looked very uneven and it was distracting because, and I'm sorry, is it Matt in the pink shirt?
Michael.
Michael, I'm sorry, Michael. So Michael, you just seem so much taller and it would have been nice to be evened out. And also, I didn't see a lot of your face. I saw a lot of the side because you guys were sitting so close together. And I know, I mean, I don't know how many cameras, I don't know what camera setup you guys have, if you just have the one, but it would have been nice to have either single cameras or maybe even to be further apart because I never saw Michael's face straight on until the very end. He was always like this. And you're handsome. I wanted to see you straight on.
Too kind.
Okay, so that was the A block. I'll pause there on the A block if anyone has any questions or comments.
Yeah, guys, ask any questions. Anybody has questions for the A block?
Everyone's shy. Don't be shy. I'm like the easiest person to get along with.
Ask a question going back to like what you were just saying, because Professor V is telling us to be more interactive in our desk hits with the solutions journalism. So if you don't want us like particularly looking at the camera too much, but you want to see like our face, how do you go about approaching that?
So do you guys have one camera in the studio?
Yeah, but we were only using one.
So for that, what happens is that I would have liked a single shot of you. And you could have still been looking, but I would have liked the angle of the camera to be more that I see you talking, but more of your face.
So
instead of constantly on that two
the camera would be
shot.
here, this one camera, and you're still looking at Ben, but the camera is showing your face. I think that's what Jen is trying.
Exactly.
I sort of moved and became a camera for him to imagine
That's exactly
it.
right. So obviously you wouldn't be looking at the camera because you're having a conversation with Ben, right?
But the camera
it
would be looking at you from that angle.
Yeah.
And you would still be talking together. And then if we have the third camera here, then when Ben is asking questions, he'll be looking at Michael, but the camera we're looking at your face because
Correct.
the camera is showing you still sort of turn, but still, instead of the camera being here, and we're just seeing the side of your faces. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Am I acting a camera?
Would it be a
Yeah,
double
I mean,
box?
if you
Ben?
guys ha-
A double?
If you
I
have,
don't know.
if you have the 3 cameras, I would use them, especially when you have an interview with 2 people. Or else it feels kind of awkward as a viewer looking at you two, whereas if there were single shots, it would feel more natural and I would see your faces better. And then expressions, and it just helps as a viewer to see that.
Jan, thank you. That is, I'm not sure we have rudimentary things
Right.
to work
I
with,
get it.
and we are doing the impossible with what we have, but we can definitely look at that. Yeah, because I try to have them interact. Michael shouldn't have been on camera when Ben introduced his story. We should have shown both of them after for the Q&A because there was nothing for Michael to say, but just kind of, agree. But I guess it wasn't clear in the instructions, the producer's instructions, and I rotate them, so the producer today, Win, was producing for the first time in his life,
Oh, excellent. Good job. Good job.
And so, so they get a chance to produce once or twice maximum. They get more chances to be MMJs, reporters. Anchors, I guess, one and a half time if they're lucky. So that's how we do it. Everybody goes through all the roles, and some of them really don't like producing, but they have to do it. And so that's how we do it. But when, he tried his best to win it.
No,
his first time producing.
It was great. It was great. I mean, when I was in grad school, same thing. We had to rotate, and I hated being on camera. I'm a behind-the-scenes person, so yeah, I was not very good when I was on camera. But I get it. But that's how you also learn, and that's how you get to know what you like and what you don't like. But in today's world, it's so important to be versatile and to be able to do everything. So it's great that you're learning that way. I'm going to jump into the B block if no one has any more comments or questions about the A. Okay. All right, so the B block, I had a question about, and it's so hard trying to watch everything. In Nicole's sports, I think it was her package, I was looking at the fonts, and some students said freshman, some said junior, and one said third year, and that's why it stood out to me. I didn't understand, is that, and maybe I've been out of college too long not to know what's the difference between a third year and a junior.
So can you come here, Nicole? Bring your chair over. So we're a small group today. As I mentioned to you, 4 people are out sick, so we're not, so I think we fit around this little table here. and this is the leadership team, digital producer, TV producer, and our assignment editor. So,
well, I hope you all take emergency and no one else gets strep throat. So, and that might be a thing, is that a third year, maybe someone who's between
Nicole
being
will
a
talk to
sophomore or
you now.
junior or something?
Yeah, so Nicole will talk to you.
Yeah, I just put third year because freshman it's your first year into college. When you're a senior, it's your last year into college, and some people take 5 years, some people take 4 years. So I just put senior, meaning like that's their last year. And then I guess third year would technically be junior, but I just put third year because she could, I guess, credit-wise, be like a sophomore, or not a sophomore, but like a second year or something. So
But
that's
is
just
it even necessary to do that, or just kind of UGA student?
Yeah, I was considering just putting UGA student for all of them, but I just thought to put that just to differentiate between some of them, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, for next time, I guess. What would your advice be?
Well, because it stood out to me, right? Because the other ones had the typical freshman, whether it was, I don't remember all the ones, but see, that one stood out to me because I'm like, third year, what does that mean? Is that a junior? So then it had me think about it, and as a viewer, if you're taking a minute to think about things like that, then I'm not listening to your piece, right? So maybe it might be interesting to know what their majors are, right? So maybe, journalism major. I mean, I think we all knew they were students, UGA students, because you were talking about the game coming up, you were on campus, I think I understood that. So maybe give a little bit more about the person, maybe what their major is, or something like that. I try to, when we font people, if it's, I try to give them the viewer a little bit more information about the person. And maybe that would be something, and then they would be all pretty uniform. Of course, then you get someone who's undecided, but then you put undecided, right, as a major. But maybe that could be a solution.
Okay, well, thank you.
Great idea, great idea.
So Justin, with the weather, so natural, actually. So if you don't want to be on camera, you really should be. I thought you were very natural. You were standing so close to the screen, you were kind of like doing a little bit of a back bend to show the weather screen. So I think if you just took a little step away from the screen that you wouldn't have to like do the back bend a little bit, but you were so natural on camera. And I have to tell you, I love the tire trend tip. I've never seen anything. I didn't even know that. I think that's great. I'm going to go in and do that with my tires tonight. I just thought that was a great little tip, and I really enjoyed that. I thought you were really good on camera.
Thank you for the compliments. Yeah, I got into a habit of leaning, and I don't know what I was thinking. I felt like I was on a leash with all the cables, so yeah, that's definitely something I need to keep in mind of. Appreciate it.
Yeah, because you, like your voice and your demeanor was very natural, but the leaning was throwing me off because you were kind of going back to kind of show the screen. But other than that, I thought you were really good on camera. Very good, very natural.
Thank you.
And again, Ben's comment about the comfort watching game from his own house, I thought that was hilarious. So that was the B block. Does anyone have any comments or questions about the B block? No? Okay. You see, the blocks get shorter, so it's the C block. I really like the play on words with the lead for the plant story, how they branched out. Love that. That's totally something that I would do. I did like the plant story. I mean, it's really hard with that to get angles. It looked like it was very sunny that day, so a lot of the shots were kind of blown out a little bit. But you know, I mean, that's tough to shoot in for even a very seasoned photojournalist. The music package. So the music was so loud under that, and I don't know if it was too because of the way I'm listening. I had a really tough time hearing the reporter track. All I heard was the music, and it was overbearing, and I was so focused on that, I couldn't focus on what the reporter was saying. Music is very tricky, especially if you're doing something like a music festival, or if you're at a place that music is constantly in the background. It's so hard because when you do interviews, you have to try to find a quiet place. Well, that's very difficult in a music festival. And I just, yeah, and then all of a sudden the music went away. So you just have to be really careful and strike a good balance with, you don't want to, you want people to hear nat sound, you want people to hear music, and ultimately you have to hear what the report's about. And that was kind of throwing me off a little bit. Also with music and something, we have to worry about copyright. So for us at CNN, if we're showing a performance of someone and they're playing something, we have, sorry, I have dogs, I apologize if you can hear them. You have to show the person playing it on camera, and then we can't use that bed of music under something else because it's copyrighted. So meaning you can't show them playing music and then cut to the rest of the festival, like booths or people eating or stuff with that music under, because it's copyrighted. So music is just really tricky in general, but you have, the real thing about that is the volume of that. Does anyone have questions about that?
I would thank you for making that point, because I am very particular about copyright coming from CNN, and we have lawyers who are looking at copyright and everything. And so I'm grateful that you're making this point, because it's really important also with images. You have to take your own B-roll, and you have to do, yeah, you're very careful with the music, and that's a great idea, just to show very briefly, right when you're talking about that person, show the person playing, or a nat pop, yeah.
Well, it's even when we do, because we do a lot of obituaries, when you have a musician, and a lot of times they're playing, and then we go to we use Getty Images for stills, we can't have that music go underneath their still, because it's not them playing. So we'd have to cut to some stock music or something. But yeah, so you just got to be really careful because you can get sued.
And Jen,
yeah.
let me ask you also about, let's say it's a concert and the B-roll is just natural sound from the concert itself. can you still have that as nat sound while you're talking about the concert itself?
I think it really depends on what you're showing. You know, ideally we'd want, like if you go to a crowd shot, maybe that's okay if you show someone reacting, but ideally you want to show them reacting to the music that's being played at that time, or else kind of that's false, right? If you see them cheering and going crazy, and that's not really what they're going crazy to, the song that you put under, it really should be the song that they're going crazy to, that's what you should hear under. Because that's true and accurate to what they were doing.
Yeah, excellent point. Same with any natural atmosphere, you know, it's got to be part of the B-roll. You can't just add it, you know, later on and choose and pick where you're going to get that natural sound.
The only thing I do put natural sound, like if it's outside and for some reason that it didn't record, you just want some like of air or birds or something, like that's okay. But you know, putting in things like sirens or the rock music, or you're having people react to something that they truly weren't reacting to, I mean, that's false. That's, you know,
false,
that's misleading. Yeah. I lost my connection at the beginning of the D block, but it was weather. I did see the tail end. And like I said, with the E block, the Jeep story, I wanted to see more. And I guess it ran out of time. I forgot one thing I wanted to say about the A block and the voter package, talking about misleading. The voter package, talking about there's going to be record turnout. That was a little misleading because there weren't, I think that the word was there will be, or the parking lot is filling up. But besides that, it looked completely out there. So I was like a little confused by that. And of course you're going there at a certain time and maybe it's not full yet, but I think maybe it just looked completely empty. And even the voting booths, there was no one in there. So that was just something too that struck me as being a little odd. But it did say expecting to fill up the parking lot, but everything else, besides in the live shot, the two people that walked out the door, I think that was the only people we saw, besides the woman being interviewed.
Yeah,
if I'm not
if
mistaken.
you talk about high turnout, you've got to show that. So you want to...
Hi, yeah, so I'm Jim Rogers. I did the voter package for today. So when I got there earlier in the day, like I said, the parking lot wasn't full. When I was leaving, it had filled up, and I was just kind of saying this as an anticipatory statement, I guess, but it doesn't qualify. And then when it came to the shot to the voter machines, I wasn't allowed to shoot inside the lobby nor the voter machines while there were people in there. So that was a shot that I had previously shot of the voter room, so that's why I incorporated into that, just to kind of just show the layout of what, you know, the room was going to look like and stuff. I was able to conduct the interview in her office, but of course this is in the Board of Elections building, but it's not out on the floor, it's not in the voting room, so that's why I didn't get to see those shots today. But I would have, I would have much preferred to have some more live shots and stuff like that too. And for the most part, I was trying to get some interviews outside the building as well. People didn't want to be on camera, but thankfully I had a couple come up, and I was able to get a few more people in the background, but definitely could have included some more people, and thank you for pointing that out. I'll do better next time, so thank you.
Well, really, you know, when you don't have B-roll, I mean, you can always do a stand-up, right? I mean, you could have done a stand-up talking about that, or you could have even said, you know, we weren't allowed to go in when voters were in today, but it's expected to be really crowded or something like that. Like, viewers don't know that. What you just said, viewers don't know that. So they're going to question. I knew you probably weren't allowed to go in there, but a typical viewer is going to be like, well, he's saying it's going to be so busy, and yet there's no one in here, right? So you have to tell the viewer why, right? And so maybe that was in a stand-up. Something else I noticed, and I'm not sure if it was in your package, also with the fonting, I'm just thinking of this, make sure you font when they're talking. There was one piece, and someone at a booth, an older woman, she was fonted, but she wasn't talking yet. She was being introduced, and then when she was talking, the font went away. So that was also another thing I noticed. I think that happened once or twice during the newscast. Just make sure you're fonting them when they're actually speaking, because I want to know who the people are that are speaking. But I mean, overall, I think you guys your story selection was great. I mean, you're all learning, and I think you should be really proud of what you put on today, because I mean, even live newscasts have hiccups, and even live newscasts run out of time and they have to cut out of things. I guess it's really brave as a producer to put a package in as a kicker, because you have to be right on time or else you have to cut out. So you have to be really brave. A lot of times people will put in like a VO or a SOT or something else that's easier to cut out of. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, and thank you for having me. Oh, Relitz, I can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Oh, now I can, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. This was wonderful, and I know how busy you are, and it means a lot that you gave us this time and attention and all the great advice, and we're very, very grateful, and we wish you lots of success. And if you're ever here in Athens, Georgia, you're more than welcome to come and check out our digs.
I certainly would. I certainly would. Good luck to everyone, and thank you so much.
Good luck to you too, and thank you from my heart
Sure.
for doing
All
this.
right. All right.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Jen.